$100 million in, like a single cash transaction. That is not a rounding error. That's empire-building money.
It's an astronomical figure.
Yeah.
And in the documents we're digging into today, that sum wasn't an investment. It wasn't a fee or a bonus.
No, it was a refund. A quiet, private refund to make a very, very loud problem just go away.
And the problem wasn't some clerical error. It was the complete disintegration of the relationship between, one of the most notorious figures of our time, Jeffrey Epstein.
And the man who basically invented the American mall, Les Wexner.
Exactly.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. It is Monday, February 9th, 2026. If you've been following the news this week, you know the dam has finally broken.
It really has.
After years of waiting, Congress passed new legislation, and the DOJ has just released this massive trove of records, over 3 million pages related to the Epstein case.
It is a data dump of historic proportions. I mean, you're seeing a frenzy right now. Accountants, journalists, everyone is just combing through this stuff.
Right.
But our mission today is to, step back from that frenzy a little bit. We're not here to just rehash the tabloid headlines.
We're here to understand the mechanics of the money.
Because that's where the real story is.
Absolutely. We're going to look at how a relationship that began with, what seems like total financial trust devolved into accusations of massive theft, a bizarre letter mentioning, and I promise we will get to this, gang stuff.
The gang stuff letter, yeah.
And a secret 9-figure settlement that kept it all under wraps for over a decade.
And I think what you'll see if you really want to understand the Epstein saga is that you have to follow the ledger. And for a very long time, the money that was fueling Epstein's entire lifestyle, it wasn't really his.
He was Les Wexner.
It was Les Wexner.
Okay, so let's start with that headline number.
Yeah.
100 million. Where does that figure come from?
This comes directly from new reporting by the Financial Times, and it's backed up by a specific DOJ report in this new data release.
Right.
They reveal that back in 2008, Jeffrey Epstein paid Les Wexner $100 million.
Now, I'm not a financial expert, but usually the money flows the other way. Right? The client pays the money manager.
Right.
If the money manager is writing a check that big to the client, something has gone seriously off the rails.
Off the rails is a mild way to put it. According to these documents, this payment was basically restitution. Wexner had accused Epstein of misappropriating funds.
And not just a little.
No, the scale is just staggering. The claim wasn't just about the $100 million he paid back. Wexner alleged that Epstein had stolen hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions. It begs the question, how? I mean, Les Wexner is a self-made billionaire. He started with a $5,000 loan and built Victoria's Secret.
Great empire.
You don't do that by being careless.
Yeah.
So how does someone like that let hundreds of millions of dollars just walk out the door?
That is the central mystery here, isn't it? But the prosecutor's report details this financial arrangement that, it required a complete suspension of any normal business sense.
What do you mean?
Starting in 1991, Epstein held full power of attorney for Wexner.
Okay, and for people listening who maybe think that is just, helping an elderly parent pay their bills, let's be clear what that means in this context.
No, this was the absolute keys to the kingdom. A general power of attorney like this one gave Epstein the legal authority to act as Wexner.
Not just for him.
No, as him. He could sign checks, buy and sell property, move assets, all in Wexner's name. The report explicitly states Epstein had, and this is a quote, virtually no oversight.
So he didn't even have to call and say, hey, Les, I'm moving $10 million over here.
Seemingly not. He was operating with an autonomy that's it's just unheard of. Usually you have checks and balances, compliance officers.
Yeah, he was the compliance officer.
Exactly. It's like handing someone your wallet and your entire identity and just saying, I trust you. Don't call me.
Which is how the alleged theft continued for so long.
Right.
But here's the part that I can't wrap my head around. The 2008 timeline.
Right.
When this was finally discovered, and it was reportedly by Abigail Wexner, his wife, they didn't call the police. They didn't sue him.
They settled.
Privately.
Yes, a private settlement. The documents are very explicit about this. They wanted to avoid unnecessary public attention. So they cut a deal. Epstein pays back $100 million, which was probably just a fraction of what was taken.
And they cut ties.
That
phrase, unnecessary public attention, it's doing so much work there. If you catch someone stealing from you on that scale, your first instinct is to destroy them.
You'd want justice.
But they chose silence. Why?
You have to look at the calendar. It was 2008. This is the exact same time Epstein is facing his first round of criminal sex crimes charges down in Florida.
Ah, so the heat was already on him.
He was on. If the Wexners had sued him for fraud right then, the discovery process, I mean, it would have cracked Epstein's entire financial world wide open for everyone to see.
His spending, his travel, where the money was coming from, all of it.
It would have all become public record. A lawsuit like that could have brought the whole house of cards down a decade early.
So instead, the settlement kept all the financial laundry private.
Right. Epstein loses a chunk of change, sure, but he keeps his secrets and, he keeps his freedom. For the most part, it was a transaction.
Privacy for a price. Okay, let's fast forward. There's another crucial date in these files. July 25th, 2019.
Yeah, this is from a memo prepared by federal prosecutors, and this is where the legal drama really spikes.
What happened?
On that date, lawyers for Les Wexner walked into the prosecutor's office to offer information.
And the context here is everything. July 25th, 2019. Epstein is in jail. He had just been arrested. The whole world is watching.
And he'd be dead just 16 days later.
So Wexner's team isn't waiting for a subpoena. They're proactive. They're knocking on the door. Why?
It's a legal strategy. It's called a proffer. You basically go to the government and say, look, we have information. We're the victims here, not co-conspirators.
They're setting the narrative.
They laid out the entire history, the power of attorney, the theft, that 2008 settlement we just talked about.
It feels like a race against time, right?
Yeah.
They had to know Epstein might start talking to cut a deal for himself.
Of course. They needed to get their story out first. He stole from us. We knew nothing about the other stuff.
Obviously, that.
Let it work?
Legally, it seems so. The report notes that a prosecutor told Wexner's lawyers that he was viewed as a source of information and, quote, not a target in any respect.
So he was cleared as a target. Let's go back to the mechanics of the theft itself, though. How did he actually do it? It's not like he was just taking cash out of an ATM.
No, the report breaks down this classic scheme of self-dealing. And it's shockingly simple when you control both sides of a transaction.
Okay.
So Epstein would use his authority to buy an asset, maybe a piece of real estate, using Wexner's money. On paper, it belongs to Wexner.
Standard stuff. Les, you should own this townhouse in Manhattan. Exactly. But then, using that same power of attorney, Epstein would authorize the sale of that asset to himself.
To himself.
Or to a shell company he controlled. And here's the key. He'd transfer it for a deeply discounted rate.
So, let me see if I have this. I use your credit card to buy a $50 million house. Then I sign a piece of paper that says, you sell me that house for $10 million. I just pocketed $40 million in equity.
That's essentially the mechanism they describe. And the report points to two massive assets that moved this way. One was a private plane.
Okay.
The other was that huge Manhattan townhouse on East 71st Street.
The famous one. The one with the heated sidewalks, the weird eyeball decor. That was the hub of his whole operation.
And for years, everyone just assumed he bought it with his own genius trading profits.
But it was basically just transferred from Wexner.
Yes, and this explains a mystery that has baffled people for years. Epstein didn't have a big trading floor, no long list of clients. We always asked, where did the money come from?
And the prosecutors had an answer.
They did, and it's a damning one. In that 2019 report, they wrote that money from Wexner appears to account for virtually all of Epstein's wealth.
Virtually all. So he wasn't some financial wizard. He was a parasite.
That is the picture the 2019 report paints. Now, I do want to add a little nuance here because nothing in high finance is ever that simple.
Yep.
While the DOJ focused on Wexner, a later review in 2021 found that Leon Black, the Apollo co-founder, paid Epstein $158 million between 2012 and 2017.
So after the Wexner relationship ended in 2008, he found a new host.
A new revenue stream, yes. But for those foundational years, the 90s, the early 2000s, the bedrock of the entire Epstein lifestyle, the planes, the houses, that was Wexner's money.
We've done the financials. Now we have to talk about the psychology, because there's a letter in these files that is just, it's chilling.
The undated draft message, a document Epstein wrote to Wexner. We don't know for sure if it was ever sent, but
the fact he wrote it gives us a window right into his mindset.
a direct look.
He's furious that Wexner is cutting him off. But then he uses this phrase that just, it stops you cold. He writes that he and Wexner were involved in gang stuff for more than 15 years.
Gang stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's an unbelievably loaded term. It sounds like something from a mob movie, not a letter between two billionaires.
It implies a pact. It implies they were doing things outside the normal rules. What could that even mean?
That's the billion-dollar question. In the note, Epstein paints himself as a martyr. He claims he did nothing but protect Les Wexner's interests.
It's a guilt trip mixed with a threat.
A huge one. And he brings Abigail, Wexner's wife, into it. He says her accusations are unfair, aggressive, and false.
And then comes the real threat.
The gray mail. He writes, "We don't know what we don't know." And he suggests that if Abigail questions Les about it, Les should just stay silent.
We don't know what we don't know. That is the language of mutually assured destruction. He's saying, if you push me, secrets are going to come out that neither of us want public.
It's a leverage play. Now, we have to be clear here. Wexner's team has responded to this.
And what do they say?
They dismiss it completely. A spokesperson said Wexner never received the note, that its contents are delusional, and that it fits a pattern of Epstein making things up to justify his own crimes.
So their position is, this is just a con man, angry. His Mark finally walked away.
Which is a plausible defense. I mean, Epstein lied about everything, but that phrase, gang stuff, even if it was a delusion on his part, it tells you that he believed there was a deeper complicity. He felt they were partners in crime.
Speaking of things that just don't add up, there's this medical connection in the documents. It feels like it belongs to a totally different story.
The payments to Dr. Mark Landon.
Yeah, who is he?
Dr. Landon is the chair of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Ohio State University.
And OBGYN.
And OBGYN. And the documents have FedEx receipts, emails, all discussing payments from Epstein's firm to this doctor.
How much?
There's an email from Epstein to his lawyer, Darren Indyke, that just says $75,000 per year. So a $75,000 annual